The last time I was in this room was with my father, who spent the first more than half of his life at this university, first as a student and then as a reader in agricultural engineering. And I came to several public lectures with him in my youth and then in my 20s and 30s. He started the Reece Foundation in 2007. And the family has carried it on after his death, basically using the sum of the profits made from the engineering companies that he set up, using the research that he started here in the university. It was a very early spin out from the university, which became very successful. And he wanted to give some money back to the Northeast. He set up the Reece Foundation and put a section of the profits that had been made back into the Reece Foundation, mainly looking at education, trying to get more people to be engineers like him and create the wealth that he had done and the employment on Tyneside. But he was also extremely interested always in the environment. He was an agriculturalist for a start, so from a farming point of view, but also as a person that loved Northumberland. He was Cockney, absolutely loved Northumberland, the wildness of it, the nature of it, and the wildlife of it. He also loved the city of Newcastle. And this new project of ours, Ouse Burn project, brings those two things together, very much so. I have to apologise for being a little bit husky and I won't give out tonight, but you won't have to keep listening to me talking live because we have a video which describes the project, I think, extremely well. So what I thought we would do is we'll put the video on. It's about 10 minutes. It's got some nice visuals of the Ouse Burn Valley, which you probably all know extremely well. But sit back, enjoy it. I'll say a few words after it, and then I'm extremely happy to answer any questions that anybody's got from the audience. Everybody that's lived in the East End of Newcastle or has visited it has heard of Jesmond Dean and the fantastic bequest to the city from Lord Armstrong at the end of the 19th century. Recently it has become very obvious how the environment in Jesmond Dean and in the Ouse Burn Valley surrounding it has become degraded. It looks neglected, there are many undeveloped sites near it, and its potential is just not being realised. We at the Reece Foundation, where we try and spend our money to increase the well-being and prosperity of the residents of the northeast of England, we're hoping that maybe we could do something to help. On the back of this, we've launched the Ouse Burn Vision. Along with Ryder's architectural practice from Newcastle upon Tyne, we have set out a vision of what it could become, of what the Ouse Burn Valley could be for the residents of Newcastle and also for visitors to the city. A unique green corridor from the Tyne to the north of the city, linking into the wonderful countryside of Northumberland. The Ouse Burn Way starts at the Tyne and runs up the Ouse Burn for about 7 miles to end at Wheatslade Country Park, which is just north of Gosforth Park to the north of the city. This links into the countryside of Northumberland. The two main tributaries that run into the Ouse Burn can also be included in the way, the Lech and the extension of the Ouse Burn to the northwest up towards Callerton and the airport. What is distinctive about the Ouse Burn project is that it combines environmental and green initiatives with inner city living. What we're looking to do here is to have a corridor of green space that is accessible to many people from the inner city and easily accessible, as well as providing a safe and enjoyable and healthy means to travel the 7 miles north-south along the route of the Ouse Burn Way. We see education and skills being a big part of this project, as well as recreation. The Ouse Burn runs through many communities,
and many of them are very actively involved and very much value the Ouse Burn Valley and the parks that are within it. A very important aspect of this project for us at the Reece Foundation is empowering those communities to have a say over what happens in the development and improvement of the valley, what's important to them and what they would prioritise. What we can bring is extra funding into the valley, which we can use to help those communities both have their say and bring about the change that they want. One of the major reasons that the environment of the Ouse Burn has become degraded in the last 10-20 years has been the deterioration in the water quality in the river itself. There's been increased pollution through both human sewage, which comes out of combined sewer outflows along the Ouse Burn, plus agricultural runoff and urban runoff going into the Ouse Burn. This has had a major impact on the Ouse Burn as a wildlife corridor, and also the Ouse Burn as a recreational amenity for the people of Newcastle. After rainfall particularly, it's smelly, it's unpleasant, it's a nasty colour, nobody wants to go near it. Not only that, recent research funded by the Reece Foundation at Newcastle University has shown that it's actually a health hazard. A key part of this project is to improve the water quality. That in itself will enable the Ouse Burn to become a much nicer place, more pleasant environment, but also to once again be able to support a large variety of wildlife which can travel along it all the way from the Tyne to the countryside. We're talking about otters, kingfishers, water vole, all have become rare or entirely missing now. They can come back. As soon as we get the water better, we can start doing other things. As the valley regenerates, it'll become an even more important and significant cooling space for the city. As climate changes, this will become more and more important. One of the things that cities like Newcastle and North Tyneside lack is opportunity to access nature. The Ouse Burn Valley can do that. It can bring people into an area where there's green space, open space, and nature and wildlife, and it can do it easily and safely. The Ouse Burn Way can be split into 4 distinct sections, and each section has its own opportunities where we believe we can make a significant change to the environment there. The lowest section runs from the Tyne itself up through the city stadium to Jesmond Dean. It's very difficult to get from the lower Ouse Burn into Ouse Burn Park, Jesmond Dean area. That's an area for improvement. It runs over the city stadium site, currently an area of interest to Newcastle City Council for development purposes. We think the communities can have a bigger say in that, and we think there's a big opportunity there to help access into the green space in that area. The second stage, which runs from City Stadium up to Hadrick's Mill Roundabout, through Jesmond Dean and also through the Ouse Burn Parks, the water quality can make a big difference to this area with the closure of Ouse Burn Road and turning that into a safe space for people to both walk and cycle, and much better access to both the parks and to the Ouse Burn itself. There are many derelict buildings and historic buildings within Jesmond Dean. These can be brought back to life and used as a resource for heritage, employment and education. The restored heritage buildings will provide access to the history of Newcastle for a whole new generation of young people. In time, we hope these will be linked up in a Newcastle heritage way. From Hadrick's Mill North up to Wheatslade, we have the opportunity there to improve the links and make safe cycle and walkways again, but also to improve the links into Gosforth Park and up to Wheatslade. West, from Salters Bridge to Great Park, again, opportunity for better cycleway, better walkway access, and also linking into what is already a developed pathway to green spaces at the Green Park development. The Lech tributary, which runs into the Ouse Burn at about Salters Bridge, just north of Salters Bridge, is currently culverted and has the opportunity to become a walkway, cycleway, blue and green space, giving access to the Ouse Burn Way for the people of Long Benton and North Tyneside. One of the major aims of the vision is to get the authorities that have the power and the ability to affect the Ouse Burn Way inspired to put more focus on this area and to seek more funding for this area. We have formed a partnership with Newcastle City Council, North Tyneside Council, Northumbrian Water and the Environment Agency. We are all working together in order to achieve the aims set out in this vision. So many community groups, so many people are interested in this valley and what happens to it. Once the vision is launched, we intend to ask all those groups to become involved. Some people want to build more houses, some people want to build more businesses, some people want more space for cycles. We will make sure there are plenty of opportunities for everybody to have their voice heard. We believe we can reach a consensus, and we believe we can make progress at everybody's eyes. One of the things that people say about this vision is that it can't happen because we can never get the funding for it. We don't believe this is true. Funding can be available. This is one of the reasons why the Reece Foundation is making a commitment, but we believe we'll be able to get funding from elsewhere. We just have to have the belief in the vision. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a 10-year plan minimum. But if we can get started, we think real progress can be made. One of the biggest difficulty is going to be improving the water quality. That's not a simple thing, and it's not a cheap thing. But there are new scientific discoveries, new scientific methods that are being developed as we speak within Newcastle University, for example. We believe these can be brought to bear, and we believe these challenges can be overcome. In order to achieve this vision, we need help. We need the help of the statutory authorities, obviously, but we need the help of the people that will enjoy this valley. People that live alongside it, but also the people that want to come and access it. Please bring forward your ideas. Please let us know what your priorities are. Join us in making this vision a reality.
Before everybody points this out, I know Jesmondine was spelled wrong. And I also know that it's Great Park, not Green Park. How those two are still in there, I'm not sure, but they are. I hope that's given an overview of what we're looking at in the Ouse Burn Vision, as we like to call it, or the Ouse Burn Way. Just to clarify that a little bit, the Ouse Burn Way is really a cycle walkway that links Wheatslade to the Tyne. As we said at the start, that was the original thought process where we were originally thinking, you know, there's a national cycleway that goes through Wheatslade east-west. Probably a lot of you know this. And there's a national cycleway that goes along the Tyne east-west, but nothing links them. And the absolute obvious route is through the Ouse Burn Valley. Now what I find is when I talk to cycle people is that's where they go. That's exactly where they go. But they go that way because they know how to access it and they know how to get that route off-road, most of it. A little bit is not off-road. But it's not publicised and it's not made available and accessible to people that aren't in the know. So that became a sort of, why is that the case? Then we looked at it, and one of the things that really I noticed, I lived away from Newcastle for between 2005, officially I still live away from Newcastle, I'm here all the time, is the degradation in the water quality and how unpleasant the environment has actually become quite a lot of the time because of that. So then we started looking at that, and then we kind of started going backwards and looking at the ecology. You know, there was water bubbles, loads of them, and I used to go down there with my kids. Now I don't, right? And a simple explanation is given that's me. I don't think that's true, but there's people in this room that know a lot more about that than me. There's people in this room that know a lot more about the ecology of the Ouse Burn Valley than me. There's people throughout Newcastle that love the Ouse Burn Valley, know a lot about it, have lots of great ideas. Once we started realising this, it became something that we in the foundation like to do. We've got limited resource, but we've got some. And we can use that resource quite frequently just to liberate the ideas and the energy of other people and other groups who know a lot more about what is needed than we do. And that's the whole idea behind this vision. There'll be people in this room that have been thinking about stuff like this for years, and maybe just a little bit of funding or a little bit of opening of the door, and we'll be able to get things achieved. That's the idea behind it. We have formed this partnership with the City Council and the North Tyneside Council and Northumbrian Water and the Environment Agency. Now they're all people that can get a lot done quickly, theoretically. Right? If I could bear it, we will stick with this partnership and gradually push them in the direction of being able to do big things. In the meantime, there's lots of people that want to do things. We've made a commitment for an initial amount of £1 million to put into the valley from the foundation. And that's initial, because the more I think about it and the more people I talk to about it, the more possibilities that are emerging. I mean, it's just a most incredible resource that we have here in Newcastle that is used and enjoyed by lots of people, but really undersold, in my opinion, at the moment, compared to what it could be. And I think once people start seeing that, there'll be a real momentum built behind what we're doing. There's a couple of things I really wanted to point out. Today, I was just sent an extract from Gardener's Chronicle, 16th of June, 1894. And pick up on what Claire was just saying about history here, right? It starts with Jesmond Dean. This Dean Park is situated at Jesmond, was laid out, planted by Lord Armstrong. Although it will not be formally handed over to Corporation, Newcastle City, till that nobleman's decease, it is, to all intents and purposes, a public park, subject to corporation rules and regulations. It is not only the finest piece of ornamental planting about Newcastle, but it will vie with the best attempts at that anywhere. The site is admirable, having amphitheatre-like slopes on either side, running a good mile long from end to end, and in the hollow where the Ouse Burn runs, bridged over a convenient distance for public promenading. It is amply provided with spatial walks, and the whole is in admirable state of keep. Right, well, I don't think it is in an admirable state of keep anymore, but I think that's something that we can do something about. Water quality is absolutely key. And water quality is something that's in the national news now a lot, and you will have all seen it, and I think we'll all have been shocked by what we've learned. Northumbrian Water has made a public commitment to do something about the CSOs in the next 11 years. One CSO in the next 5 years, and another 2 in the 10 years after that. We are trying to push them to do something before then, and they have said they will, given the weight of interest in this. They will bring some of their new technologies to bear into the Ouse Burn. In order to make sure that happens, we need a big lot of people that know about it and keep the pressure on. Because of course they've got lots and lots of demands coming from all over the place. But they have made that commitment, and they have shown their interest, they have joined the partnership, so that both those things fill me with hope, actually, that we can make progress on this. Even in the light of everything else that's going on nationally that can make you despair, actually. They are very keen on the idea of local partnership, local working together. So that is, I think, something we can hope for. We have already found numerous other people that are interested in being involved in this. What we said there is true. We don't know what the answers are. We don't know what should be happening in the Ouse Burn Valley to make it a better place. Ecology, obviously a huge part of the wildlife side of things. Expertise abounds in the university, in this society. We await people's proposals. Nor can we at the foundation deliver this, by the way. We are a small organisation, 1 full-time employee, 6 very part-time agent trustees. Right, so we can't deliver it either, but all we can do is be a catalyst. Go around and got some money, not a huge amount compared to what we might want for the whole valley, but enough, I think, to get some things going off the ground. So given that, what we need is more and more people to tell us, get involved, tell us what you want, tell us how you want to do it, and then let's all work together and see if we can do it together. And I think, little by little, we can do little improvements, and we can make this an absolute national exemplar of a fantastic place brought about by local demand and local action. We've got a unique, really is a unique resource this within Tyneside. And I think by work together, and I think Claire thinks this as well, we can do something really great here, you know. And so 3 otters visible up at the Nature Reserve, brilliant. 2 weeks ago, 2 otters lounging around on the steps outside the Tyne pub, right next to the Tyne at the bottom of Lower Ouse Burn. Fantastic, right? Those two, there's the corridor, and that's what we want. And I hope you'll all join us and get on board with helping this become a reality. Thanks.